All right, let's dive into this. Navin Fluorine International Limited,
Yeah.
NFIL.
You know, they're a big player in that specialty fluorochemical space.
Yeah.
We're talking like crop protection,
Mm.
pharmaceuticals,
Mm.
even, the stuff that keeps your refrigerator running. So if you got questions about NFIL, we got answers, right?
Yeah.
We got their Q3 and their 9-month FY25 report,
Okay.
fresh off the presses. And we also have a recording of their earnings call.
Oh, nice. So we get both sides of the story.
Exactly. The official story and then like the expert reactions.
Oh, great.
So ready to see what makes NFIL tick?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Where they're growing, what challenges they're facing, how are their finances?
I think, what's really interesting about NFIL is that they're not just making these chemicals, but they're actually applying them, in ways that touch all of our lives.
Yeah.
And they're really committed to doing it sustainably, too.
Right.
And we'll get to that a little bit later, but like the EcoVadis gold medal that they got.
That's a big deal.
So just to kind of set the stage a little bit.
Okay.
NFIL's been around since 1967. Global reach.
Wow.
They're known for this, like, expertise in fluorine chemistry.
Yeah, right.
How do they actually make their money?
Yeah, how does it all work?
So they've got these, like, 3 main areas of operation.
Okay.
And this is where it gets interesting.
Oh, okay.
They have this, like, integrated approach.
Uh-huh.
So they handle, like, sourcing the raw materials,
Mm-hmm.
R&D, research and development,
Yeah.
all the way to manufacturing.
That's pretty unique. I mean, that integrated approach is like key to their strategy.
Right.
It's not just about making the chemicals, it's about creating the solutions from start to finish.
Right.
And that gives them like a lot more control, right? Over the quality, the cost, how fast they respond to customers.
Oh, makes sense. So let's break down these 3 areas.
Okay.
First up,
Yeah.
high-performance products,
Okay.
HPP.
Okay.
This is where they make things like HFO. That's a refrigerant gas.
Uh-huh.
And get this.
Yeah.
They are the first and only company in India making HFO.
Wow. That's a pretty good selling point.
Right.
Yeah. I bet that's reflected in their financials too.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, their HPP segment's probably doing pretty well.
Yeah.
In Q3 FY25, their HPP revenue jumped like 22%
Wow.
compared to the year before. So,
Healthy growth.
yeah.
Next, specialty chemicals.
Okay.
This is where NFIL kind of gets into creating like custom solutions
Mm-hmm.
for specific industries. One big area that they're focused on is agrochemicals,
Mm-hmm.
essential for protecting crops, making sure we have food,
Yeah. It's important stuff. But
Yeah, it is. And it's not just about, the traditional way of doing agriculture
yeah,
either.
right.
I think it's really neat is how NFIL's kind of connecting their agrochemical expertise to this whole energy transition thing that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So they're involved in making solutions for biofuels.
Which are becoming like, more and more important
Absolutely.
as we try to move away from fossil fuels.
So last but not least, we have their CDMO business.
Okay.
Stands for Contract Development and Manufacturing Organization. Gotcha. Might sound a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
But basically, they're teaming up with pharma and biotech companies
Okay.
to help develop and manufacture these complex molecules that you always hear about.
I see. So it's kind of like a scientific partnership.
Yeah.
Like with huge potential.
Huge potential.
Yeah. This is like a high value, high growth area for
Yeah.
NFIL. And their Q3 results kind of show that they're making some serious progress, right?
Yeah.
Like they've started shipping products for a big European CDMO contract.
Wow.
And they're, expecting pretty strong growth in FY26 and beyond.
So we've got these 3 exciting areas of business. How are they doing financially?
Yeah. How are they doing?
Well, based on their Q3 FY25 report, NFIL is doing pretty well. I mean, we're talking 21% year-over-year revenue growth. Huge leap in profitability.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Like if you look at their operating EBITDA margin,
Okay.
that increased by a whopping 917 basis points
Wow.
in Q3 compared to the year before.
That's big.
So it's a pretty clear indication that what they're doing is working.
Yeah. And here's what really caught my eye.
Okay.
NFIL's growth plans, they're not just, sitting back,
Yeah.
enjoying the ride.
Right.
They're looking for ways to, expand and evolve.
Absolutely.
They've got this kind of 3-pronged approach.
Okay.
new products, expanding their platforms, and forming these strategic partnerships.
I like it. It's like they're building this like rocket ship for growth, you know?
Yeah.
Each of those prongs is so strategically important, right? Like launching those new products, that shows their commitment to like innovation.
Yep.
Expanding the platform gives them that infrastructure they need to grow.
Makes sense.
And those strong partnerships.
Yes.
Like, remember that $410 million multi-year contract they got in their HPP segment?
Yeah, $410 million. That's big.
That's huge.
It's massive.
And that's a real, like, you know, vote of confidence.
Yeah.
From a global player.
Yeah. Speaking of partnerships.
Yeah.
$410 million deal.
Huge.
Huge.
Yes.
Plus, they've got that European CDMO deal taken off.
Right.
Products are already shipping. Strong projections for the coming years.
They're doing great.
I mean, they're on a roll.
They are, but you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
NFIL faces some challenges too.
That's right.
Like, you know, based on their earnings call, pricing pressure in the agrochemicals market seems to be like a concern.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, competition. You know, the overall market.
Yeah.
It's affecting prices across the industry.
Definitely. But I think NFIL is smart about it.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, they're not just trying to compete on price.
Right.
They're really focusing on building those strong long-term relationships with customers.
Makes sense.
You know, they're emphasizing quality and innovation over just being like the cheapest option.
Another challenge that they mentioned is ramping up these new plants, like the Nectar project.
Right.
I mean, these are complex processes.
Oh, absolutely.
And it sounds like they're taking a very kind of deliberate and cautious approach.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, rushing a project of that scale can lead to, you know, all sorts of costly mistakes.
Right.
And even, you know, safety risks.
Exactly. Safety first.
Absolutely. Safety first. So NFIL understands that disciplined project execution.
Yeah.
That's crucial for, you know, achieving long-term success.
It sounds like NFIL has a lot on their plate.
They do.
These three main areas of operation: strong financial performance, ambitious growth plans, but they're also facing, you know, some headwinds.
Sure.
Like, you know, pricing pressure, complexity of bringing these new plants online.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, how are they, like, mitigating these risks?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And it actually ties back to something we talked about earlier, those partnerships.
Yeah.
By building those strong relationships with customers and suppliers, they kind of create this like more resilient business model, right?
Yeah.
It can withstand, you know, market fluctuations, competitive pressures. You know, they're not just selling products. They're building that trust, that collaboration.
That's smart. So it's not just about what they're making, it's also about how they're operating, who they're working with.
Exactly.
But let's zoom in on their operational excellence for a minute. They've got state-of-the-art facilities, a strong emphasis on safety, and a proven track record of being able to scale production to meet demand.
Absolutely. And all of that operational excellence, it translates directly to, you know, financial performance, efficient operations, that leads to better margins,
makes sense,
profitability, which gives them like more flexibility to you know, navigate those challenges and invest for the future.
And NFIL isn't just operating in India. They've got a global reach, serving both domestic and international markets. I mean, that global presence, that's a testament to their ambition.
Right.
And their ability to compete on a worldwide scale.
Absolutely.
So we've established NFIL is a global player, but what about the risk that they face in the short and medium term?
Yeah. No one's immune to those.
Right.
Even with a solid track record and, you know, a clear vision, there's always challenges. I think one of the key risks for NFIL is that ongoing pricing pressure. Yeah. In the agrochemicals market. I mean, those global market conditions can be unpredictable.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if prices drop further, that could really impact their bottom line.
It's a tightrope, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You got to balance, you know, staying competitive on price with maintaining that quality and innovation that they're known for.
It's a delicate balance.
So what else are they keeping an eye on?
I think another risk is the the successful execution of those big new projects we talked about.
Yeah.
Any delays
Right.
or unexpected costs.
Yeah.
That could really, that could eat into their financial performance.
For sure.
And slow down their growth.
Right. It's easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Building a new plant.
Yeah.
Massive undertaking.
Huge.
So many moving parts.
So many things can go wrong.
And speaking of moving parts, what about competition?
Oh, yeah. Competition's always, lurking out there.
Right.
You've got new players emerging, existing competitors upping their game.
Right.
Especially, as NFIL expands into these new areas.
Right.
Like high purity HF for those EV batteries everyone's talking about.
Right.
That's something they really got to stay ahead of. But, NFIL's got a few tricks up their sleeve.
Okay.
Like that integrated business model we talked about.
Right.
Their focus on innovation, those strong customer relationships, all of that really helps them stand out.
Okay, so they're aware of the risks.
Yeah.
They've got some strategies to mitigate them.
They seem to.
But let's shift gears for a minute. Talk about something that's, becoming more and more important.
Okay.
For investors. Businesses alike. ESG.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one these days.
So how's NFIL doing when it comes to environmental social responsibilities?
I mean, their commitment to sustainability is really worth noting.
Right.
They've set some pretty ambitious targets for reducing their carbon footprint. Like using more renewable energy, recycling packaging material.
That's good. That's good to hear.
It is. It's, it's not just about making a profit these days.
Right.
It's about, being responsible, being a good corporate citizen.
Absolutely.
Considering the impact they have on the world.
Yeah. It's about more than just the bottom line these days.
Totally. And NFIL is taking that seriously.
Right.
It's not just about the environment either.
Okay.
They're investing in social initiatives as well.
Okay, like what?
Like, promoting gender diversity, supporting workforce development, engaging with the communities around their operations.
So they're really taking a holistic approach.
Yeah, they are. And that's what makes a real difference, right?
Completely.
It's not just about checking boxes. It's about making a positive impact.
Yeah. And that's something that, investors are paying attention to.
They are. Companies with strong ESG practices, they're seen as more sustainable and resilient in the long run. So it's not just about doing good.
Yeah.
It's good for business, too.
Good for business.
Yeah.
All right. So we covered a lot with NFIL.
We have.
Their key areas of operation, how they're growing, the challenges they face, their overall financial health. We even touched on how they're managing risks and their commitment to ESG.
It's impressive.
So anything else we should highlight before we kind of wrap up?
One thing that really stands out to me is NFIL's operational excellence.
Okay.
Particularly, how much they emphasize safety.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
they've got an impressive track record.
Yeah.
They've got multiple certifications.
Okay.
Speaking to their commitment to, keeping their employees safe.
It's more than just a buzzword for them. I mean, they even have a dedicated lab for process safety.
Wow, they're serious about it.
Yeah, it shows how serious they are about handling these, hazardous chemicals.
Yeah, that's important.
It's not just about protecting their employees. It's about protecting, the communities around their facilities as well.
That's true. And speaking of communities, their social initiatives are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like in FY24 alone,
yeah,
they spent nearly 8 crores on corporate social responsibility.
That's a significant investment.
It is. Supporting organizations that are focused on healthcare, education, community development. It really shows that they're, committed to making a positive impact.
It does.
Beyond just their bottom line.
Absolutely. And it aligns with their whole approach to ESG. It's not just about compliance.
It's about, building a sustainable and responsible business.
Yeah.
For the long term.
Before we move on, I do want to touch on something.
Okay.
Often gets overlooked, but it's crucial.
Okay.
To a company's success. Governance.
Oh, yeah. Governance is key.
How does NFIL stack up?
I mean, their governance practices are definitely worth highlighting.
Okay.
They've got a highly engaged board of directors
Okay.
with a wealth of diverse experience. They're really committed to board independence as well.
Okay.
Which is important.
Yeah.
The majority of the board are non-executive directors.
Okay.
So that ensures, objective decision making, strong oversight.
It gives investors confidence that the company is, being managed responsibly.
Exactly. And they even have a woman director on the board, which is great.
Yeah.
Adds to that diversity of thought and experience.
Yeah.
At the leadership level.
Yeah. It sounds like they're taking all the boxes for good corporate governance.
They really are.
Transparency, accountability, balanced board with a mix of skills and backgrounds.
And that's not just, good practice. It's essential for building trust with investors.
Right.
And ensuring the long-term sustainability of the company.
Right.
Strong governance practices, that's the foundation for ethical and responsible business conduct.
So they're financially sound, committed to sustainability, have solid governance practices.
It sounds like NFIL's a really well-rounded company with a bright future.
But we'd be remiss if we didn't circle back to those ambitious growth plans.
Oh, yeah, those growth plans.
One last time.
Big plans.
What are some of the key investments they're making to fuel that growth?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest is a new HF plant at Dahej with a capacity of 40,000 tons per annum.
That's a major investment.
Yeah.
That'll significantly increase their production capacity.
Okay.
Allow them to expand into, higher value products.
So that's a huge undertaking. What else?
They're also continuing to invest in their CDMO business, including the cGMP4 project.
Okay.
Which is expected to be, up and running by the end of 2025.
Okay.
And this project, that's key to unlocking their full potential.
Right.
In the CDMO space.
Yeah.
It'll really enhance their capabilities.
Makes sense.
Allow them to take on, more complex and higher value projects.
Right.
Really, really solidify their position
as
a leading player in the CDMO market.
So it's a mix of, expanding their existing operations and investing in these new areas with, high growth potential.
Yeah. They're doing a bit of both.
Sounds like they've got a well-defined roadmap.
They do.
For the future. Yeah, they really seem to have a clear vision.
Yeah.
For where they're headed.
All right, so I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Delved into NFIL's operational excellence. Their commitment to, safety and social responsibility.
Yeah.
The strength of their governance practices.
Right.
And those ambitious growth plans.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
We've really gotten a sense of what makes NFIL tick.
But there's one and the last piece of the puzzle we need to explore.
Okay, what's that?
We need to zoom out and see where NFIL fits into this broader landscape of the fluorochemicals industry.
Yeah, the big picture.
What are the key trends, shaping the market?
Right.
And what opportunities and challenges lie ahead?
Good question.
For NFIL.
Yep.
So, all right, final stretch. We explored NFIL inside and out. Operations, financials, growth plans.
The whole 9 yards.
Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
What's happening in the world of fluorochemicals? How does NFIL fit in?
Well, the fluorochemicals market is pretty fascinating right now.
Okay.
It's being shaped by a few key trends.
Okay.
This increasing demand for high performance materials. The growing adoption of fluorochemicals across, all sorts of industries.
Yeah.
And a growing awareness of their kind of unique properties.
Hold on. For those of us who aren't chemists, what makes fluorochemicals so special? Why are they suddenly everywhere?
Right. So fluorochemicals, they have these exceptional properties.
Okay.
Like high thermal and chemical stability.
Okay.
Low surface energy. And they're really good at repelling water and oil. So that makes them super useful.
Okay.
For a ton of different applications, from aerospace and automotive to electronics, even pharmaceuticals.
So they're like the superheroes of the chemical world.
I like that.
No wonder they're in such high demand. Yeah.
For sure.
But what industries are really driving this growth?
Well, one of the fastest growing segments is the automotive industry.
Okay.
Fluorochemicals are used in all sorts of car parts.
Like what?
Like fuel, hoses, seals, gaskets, coatings.
Right, yeah.
And as we shift, more and more towards electric vehicles, that demand is only going to go up.
Right, because electric vehicles need these, specialized materials that can, withstand high temperatures.
Yeah.
Harsh operating conditions.
Right, exactly.
Sounds like fluorochemicals are up to the task.
They are.
What else?
Another big driver is the electronics industry.
Okay.
They're essential components in semiconductors, displays, batteries.
Great.
And with, our never-ending need for electronic devices, from smartphones to laptops.
Sure.
The demand for fluorochemicals is just, skyrocketing.
It's amazing how these tiny molecules are playing like such a big role.
They are.
In our tech-driven world.
It's incredible.
But let's not forget about healthcare.
Oh, right, healthcare, of course.
Right.
So, fluorochemicals are used in producing pharmaceuticals, medical devices, diagnostic equipment.
Okay.
So, as the healthcare industry, continues to grow and innovate, so will the demand for fluorochemicals.
So we've got this booming demand driven by all these exciting industries.
Yeah.
But what about the flip side?
Okay.
What challenges could slow down the growth?
Well, one challenge is the environmental impact of certain fluorochemicals. Some types are persistent in the environment.
Right.
They can accumulate in wildlife and humans.
Right.
Which is obviously a concern.
Yeah, it's there's often a trade-off, right? With these powerful chemicals.
For sure.
So how is the industry addressing this?
Well, I think the industry is actively developing and adopting more environmentally friendly alternatives.
Okay.
Yeah. And NFIL, they're one of the leaders in this area.
Yeah.
They're investing heavily in R&D to create new fluorochemicals that are, both high performing and sustainable.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's encouraging to see a company, taking responsibility and looking for solutions.
Right.
Rather than just ignoring the problem.
Absolutely.
What other challenges are on the horizon?
Another challenge is the volatility of raw material prices.
Okay.
Fluorochemicals are derived from fluorspar,
which
is a mineral.
Yeah.
And the price of that can fluctuate, due to global supply and demand.
So the cost of making fluorochemicals can be a little bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it can be.
So how's NFIL dealing with that?
Well, they've taken a multifaceted approach.
Sure.
So they've secured long-term supply contracts with reliable suppliers.
Thanks.
They've diversified their sourcing.
Okay.
So they're not too dependent on any one source.
Right.
And they've even invested in their own fluorspar processing facility.
Wow.
To have more control.
Okay.
Over their supply chain.
So they're really thinking ahead.
They are.
They're playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
They're anticipating the challenges and making strategic moves to stay ahead.
Exactly.
Now let's zoom out even further.
Okay.
And consider the global landscape.
Yeah.
Where does NFIL fit in, among its competitors on the world stage?
That's a good question. Well, NFIL is a major player.
Oh.
In the global fluorochemicals market.
Okay.
They've got a strong presence in key markets.
Like where?
Like India, the U.S., Europe. And they're expanding into new markets as well, like China, Southeast Asia.
So they're not just a big fish in a small pond. They're swimming with the sharks.
They are. How
do they hold their own against, those global giants?
Well, I think their secret weapon is this unique combination of strengths.
Okay, like what?
Like their integrated business model, their focus on innovation, their commitment to sustainability, and those rock solid customer relationships we talked about.
Yeah.
They're really offering their customers a package deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Quality, reliability, value.
It's a smart strategy.
It is.
They're not just selling chemicals, they're selling solutions.
Right.
And building, these partnerships.
Exactly. And that's what sets them apart from a lot of their competitors. They're not just chasing short-term profits. They're building a business that's built to last.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've taken a deep dive into the world of Navin Fluorine International Limited.
We have.
Covered everything from their financials to their ESG practices, their growth plans, their place in the global fluorochemicals market.
It's been a journey.
What a journey.
NFIL is a company that really embodies, the power of innovation, strategic thinking, responsible business practices.
They're definitely a company to watch.
They are.
But before we sign off, one final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
This is just the beginning of your exploration.
Right.
There's always more to learn.
Absolutely.
More to uncover.
Always.
So keep that curiosity alive. Keep asking questions.
Yeah.
And keep diving deep.
Until next time, happy learning.